So I've been seeing this problem in the occult world within the last 4 or 5 years. Um, there are people who charge exorbitant amounts for their services, for their even creations, but especially services. Now, to put it basically, before I go into detail, if you charge more than the materials plus how long it took you to realize what you realized, plus how much it took you to get that ritual or that product to them, if you charge more than making about $500 per ritual, not in the actual, and not in items, because if you're making more than 500 in items, that's much worse. But if you're making more than $500 in pure profit from a ritual, that is pretty ridiculous. It is a sign of success in the worst ways possible. Successful, yes. You're making over $500 per ritual that you're doing. Profit. But are you really dedicated to providing that service? Or are you really dedicated to the path that you're advising this person be on? So there's this, now stick with me here. There's this idea in the, you can say Asatwar or Northern Shamanism or Nordic Path. I usually call it the Northern Path or Northern Shamanic Path. That Yggdrasil, we're in an age where everything is zipping back up. For a long time, everything was zipping down. And that actually corresponds to a Greek age. We're actually in the heroic age, the same time that the Iliad was, being so-called written for the first time. The things that are described in the Iliad and the Odyssey, these things were during a heroic age in my understanding. Those ages in the Greek context are also being zipped back up. For a long time, everything was unzipping. That's why we got a lot of really ignorant monotheism for a very long time. In Hinduism, according to Paramahansa Yogananda, we're in the age of Dwapara Yoga, which is an age of ascension, an age where we're really starting to go back to progress. We weren't in progress before, we were in an unzipping, but we're going back to progress. For the Yggdrasil model, we are zipping back up from the bottom. That's where it starts. We are aligned with the Jotun, with chaotic forces. Those are the ones we become zipped back up with first. And it's easier to contact Jotun. It's easier to work with them. This might also correspond to quote-unquote demons. Now, when I say demons, I don't think of it in necessarily Christian context. I think of it more as in their own description of themselves. The demons and the princes of hell, their own descriptions of themselves. I don't think of them as a Christian understanding of them. Easier to contact them. That's why we have an overflow of practitioners and works coming out that involve those kinds of beings. Nothing is necessarily evil or bad about that, but just know that this is the first stage of ascension, where we're reascending. A lot of people think that we're going back to where we should be, and we're in the stage where we should be right now, and this is where we always should be. That's not the case. Everything is zipping back up. So it's easier to contact and work with these beings, whatever they might be. You can call them Jotun, you can call them demons, you can call them Ifrit, you can call them a number of things. So in the occult world, I've noticed in the last few years to 5 years that there's a lot of people capitalizing on this, of figuring out how to work with these beings and then selling products or services. That actually doesn't bother me. I consider myself one with Odin's mission. I'm an agent of order, not in the order sense of Christianity or monotheism, but actual multiversal order, which actually kind of includes a lot of people who are, Luciferian, or maybe some Satanists, maybe some demonic workers. This is not on the same stratum of duality. A lot of people like to play with duality. They like they like to say, okay, yeah, hey, demons are actually the shit, or gods are actually the shit, or, they like to play with the duality, but the duality really is imposed upon us, and we're trying to get out of that. So, these people who are good at actually connecting to these forces, let's say that they're not frauds. And, there's some that really aren't. I'm not saying that all people that produce content, do rituals for people, or produce items for people to use are frauds. By no means, not all of them are frauds. And perhaps I'm even talking about some of the ones who are legitimate, who are not frauds, but fall under the category that I'm about to talk about. Because there's a lot of frauds, but there's also some legitimate people who want to make money. So whether it's a person that's legitimate or a fraud, we find ourselves at a point where there's a lot of people looking for answers that are subject to the advertisements and the suggestions of people who delve within this field of, dealing with demonic beings, dealing with chaotic beings, and even though actually what I'm about to mention is far worse, prosperity preachers. Far worse, in my opinion, but they might be in a similar category. Prosperity preachers are reprehensible. They offer nothing in return. But even those who offer something in return for far too much fall under this category. So how do we decide how much a ritual that somebody does for us or an item that somebody makes for us is worth? How do we determine it? If this is a new thing and a re-zipping of the multiverse, how do we decipher whose ritual or whose item is worth as much as they say? Very difficult. It is not something that's easy, and that's why there's a lot of people willing to pay. The general rule is that you have to figure out if you have a connection to the being that they're offering. What is the innate or the basic nature, the foundation of this being that they're offering a connection to? Do you really need the ritual that they're going to do for you? Are you realistically able to pay how much they're asking? And there's these things like layaways and payment plans and stuff. That's all just BS to get you to pay eventually. It's easy in an information age, in an age when we feel disillusioned with religion, to be attracted to the quote-unquote left-hand path. Now, I don't like using the term right hand, left hand. Most of the left-hand people I know, they don't really fall into these categories. It doesn't make any sense. But advertising yourself as somebody who can contact demons, who can work with demons for you, who can make things happen with demons for you, that is taking advantage of the left-hand path. Now, once again, you have to decide, is what they're charging worth it? And even if it works, let's say it does work. Let's say that you achieve the goal that you're paying them for. Should they charge as much as they charge? So here's another aspect to consider. Let's say your goal is to establish the Infernal Empire. Let's say that's what you want to do. Let's say that is what you vibe with. Are those who want to establish it as well, or who have the knowledge that'll help you help to establish the Infernal Empire, why are they making it so expensive? Why are they making this knowledge so expensive? Let's say they have the knowledge. Let's say, they worked hard. Let's say that they endeavored to have this knowledge, and they're maybe even endeavoring to do the ritual for you. Let's say it's a Infernal Empire, initiation ritual, something like that. If they're really down for the cause, if they are really committed to the cause, if they want the Infernal Empire to be a thing, then why charge that much at all? Sure, it's okay to make, enough to have a good life, feed your family, have nice things, make this a full-time job, but some of the prices are ridiculous. And why are they charging that much? It's because they want to make money. They want to make as much money as possible from either the skill or just the privy advertisements tactics that they use. So if I was going to write and produce, I've written a couple books, but they have not been published. And also, I'm really bad about promoting myself. That's why I haven't sold very many kits, spiritual kits, because I just don't, I'm not advertisement minded, and I'm not like monetarily minded. That's why that I haven't made more money. You know, I have a normal job. I'm a regular guy. I have a normal job. I pay bills. I pay for college. I actually went back to college. Yet I don't feel the need to try to make as much money as possible for what I think that I know or for what my abilities. So what it comes down to is, if I was going to write a book that was all about something that I really care about, charity, compassion, giving food to people that don't have it, something like that. Or let's just say compassion and charity. I write a book on compassion and charity. I kind of already did that, but I'm not good about pressing my label once again, because I don't care to make money enough, which I actually probably should, because then I wouldn't be, low on money at any time. But then let's say I call it Charity Compassion. Then I publish this book. I'm like, yeah, you can learn about how to be charitable and compassionate. The book only costs $100. It's like, does this guy really care about charity and compassion when he's publishing this work for $100? $20 would make sense. Sure, make money. But making huge amounts of money per ritual, per book, per sale, you just don't care about the mission. What are you about? And I've noticed that it really pisses authors and people who make spiritual items or magical items. It really pisses them off when you mention something like this. They're like, "Oh, you're just envious of success, or you're just jealous of the knowledge that this person has." If that was the case, I'd be a very different person. Though, I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. If you think I'm full of crap, then don't even listen to me. That's fine. It'd be better for both of us if you didn't listen to me or even try to work with me. I'm completely fine with that. But it's a difficult thing to watch, because when these people come out of the what do cockroaches come out of? Walls? No, they come out of wall sidings and the floor, cracks in the floor. That's where cockroaches come out of. When they come out and they start getting mad about talking about, oh, you shouldn't charge, I say you shouldn't charge this much, or like, if they're really charging this much, how much do they care about helping you or the mission? All these cockroaches come out, hey, this is worth it. I have similar products, and I have similar things that people can buy. I have similar rituals I can provide. Or, hey, I really benefited from this. And it's the second category that makes me actually sadder than the other category. So the second category is people who feel like they've benefited a whole bunch from the services of people who overcharge. If anybody overcharges you, they don't have your well-being and your progression in mind. It's depressing, because I've seen a lot of people come out and say, this really helped me and this and that. And then I've seen them talk about it, and I'm like, that was a complete placebo effect. You were given motivation to do what you did for yourself by the confidence that you thought this being or this ritual worked for you. Hard to spot, hard to tell a lot of the time, but it happens a lot. I feel the sorriest for those people who are fooled and who filter their money into people who do these rituals, who offer these items for exorbitant amounts. Once again, and make a little bit of money, that's fine. Make enough money for you to just do this as a job, that's fine. Make enough money to have nice things, that's fine. But the amounts that I see on these rituals and items, it's so sad, because a lot of people will buy them. And these people will fool themselves all day into thinking that they work. Now, that doesn't mean all the people who buy these things are fooled, or all the people that buy rituals or buy items aren't benefited by them. It just means that my opinion is that it happens far too often, way too often. The people who need the things that they want the most end up being suckered the easiest. Once again, if somebody's making a little bit of profit, if you're just paying a reasonable amount, fine. Even if you don't, if you get something from it, that's wonderful. That's a perfect scenario if you get something from it. But even if you don't get something from it, you didn't spend a whole lot, sure. I mean, at least you gave it a shot. But spending thousands of dollars on a book or a ritual, thousands, 1,000, is a lot for a ritual. But depending on what that person uses in ritual and the knowledge, it could be reasonable. But $2,000 for a ritual, over $1,000 for a book, no. You're being robbed. And no producer of items, spiritual items, magical items, or books who charges that much is going to give a damn what I say right here. But this is a video more for everybody else. The people that are convinced. And also the people who have been screwed over. But the people who are convinced a lot of the time are the ones who create this backlash anytime you say anything wrong, anytime you say something a little bit bad about the person that they hired or that they paid to get a ritual or an item, because they want to believe it so bad, and that's a sad point. I met other people who are like, "Oh, I'm never buying this again from this person because it didn't do anything." And the funny thing is, the conversation today, I actually there's a lot of people that responded, and I actually. One of the guys that produces these rituals and items talking out of his butt. He there's 3 people that I know that said, I'm never gonna hire this guy again. I'm never gonna buy anything from him again. And they made very legitimate points because they went in depth. And yet he's still flinging it out there like, look what I can do. I do all this for somebody. Yeah, of course I should charge this much. Be real, man. Be real. Don't fall into this trap. That's my main message. Don't fall into the trap that they'll catch you in, because a lot of time when they catch you in the trap, part of yourself wants to believe that I should have paid that much. I should have paid that $2,000 for that ritual. And I did. So obviously it worked. Prosperity preachers, man, just on the other side. Maybe not as bad as prosperity preachers, but on the same side. Even if they're talking about demons, even if they're talking about fallen angels, even if they're talking about various beings from other realms, same category. And it doesn't make me mad. It makes me sad. And once again, anybody watching this that disagrees with me, the people that I know and the people that I will meet, we know who we are. We know we're legitimate. And the people who know they're not, they'll fight against this point. They have in multiple posts that I've made on Facebook and multiple videos that I've made regarding something like this. They'll always fight against it. Because even a part of those people who are full of shit want to believe they're not. At any rate, thank you very much for watching, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.